Friends, I greet you. In this video, we will talk about Kaito. I would say it's a new trend that is just emerging. Few people in the cis space talk about it, but foreign influencers are already working on it intensively. Accordingly, we have a chance to dive in, essentially being one of the first from the cis. I want to say right away that everyone who works on the Kaito project gets into the project leaderboards and receives decent rewards. Thus, the costs here are minimal. There are several ways to work on it. If you are interested in this topic, be sure to like this video so that many more people can see it. So, let's get started, friends. First, let's talk briefly about Kaito so that you have a general understanding. Although, again, if you have watched my previous videos, you understand what I am talking about, right? Kaito is a platform through which various projects collaborate, so to speak. Accordingly, Kaito has a leaderboard, meaning projects allocate a pool. Let's take a PL ledger as an example. This is a PN direction that we are working on similar to Grass. They have partnered with Kaito. They allocated a pool of $350,000 specifically for Yapers. Yapery are those guys who talk about the project on their Twitter, making posts, responses to smartphone followers, and so on. Open Ledger is the easiest way to make money. Just install it on your PC. This way, you climb up in the Kaito leaderboard specifically in the work on the Open Ledger project. So, you understand what I mean, right? If you talk about one project that collaborates with Kaito, you gradually move up in the leaderboard, and accordingly, those guys who get into this top 100 or top 200, depending on how many spots the project has allocated, will receive better rewards. Let me give you a simple example. For instance, you work on Open Ledger by setting up a node on your mobile device, and you expect to receive rewards like we did with Grass through an airdrop or some other redirects. Accordingly, your rewards will be much less than those of the guys who are also working through Skype alongside their node. So I think you understand. If you have time, definitely start talking about a project that you love. If it partners with Kaito, the rewards you receive will be quite good. The sooner you dive into this topic and boost your Twitter, the more chances you will have to earn decent drops in future projects. Let's move to my PC, friends. Let's talk about what to start with. I think the first thing is the basics, namely, the setup of your Twitter account. If many people wrote to me in my chat that this is purely an influencer topic and so on, friends, look, I have never been registered on Twitter. I have been promoting it a little lately. I have been working on various projects in Kaito for about a month, maybe even a little longer. These include Virtuals, Bliss, Open Ledger, and I have mentioned it before. So there are some projects that are gaining traction. With this, I have already managed to boost my Twitter a bit. 406 followers is not that much, but they are quality followers, so you understand. Quality followers are those who subscribe to you specifically because of your tweets or some mutual interactions. Let's say you replied to them, and they replied to you, you exchanged content, and you both followed each other. Accordingly, these are followers with that little blue check mark, right? This is much better than if you inflate your account with 1,000 followers from Pakistan or India, whose profile pictures are vertical, not round like mine. Let's say you have 100 followers, but they are of better quality. They will comment on your posts, and you will work together. I also want to remind you that I have an absolutely free Telegram channel where I share information about top projects. Later, only after 2 to 3 days do I record a video and upload it to YouTube, but the post in Telegram appears much earlier. In crypto, as you understand, the rules are very often first come, first served. Also, if you have any questions, you can ask them in our chat, and the more knowledgeable guys from our community will gladly help you with answers. The link to my Telegram is in the description below this video. Welcome, friends. The next point is that blue check mark. You must acquire it if you plan to work with Kaito and develop further. So, what is it needed for? It costs, if I'm not mistaken, $8 depending on the region, but I paid $8 per month or $100 for a whole year. So, what does it help us do? If we tweet with the blue check mark on our account, there's a much higher chance that it will appear in recommendations. If you don't have this check mark, it will be very difficult for your tweet to appear in recommendations. You can reply to someone, for instance, you go to the main page, see many various tweets like good night, and so on. You click on that post, and at the bottom, you see responses from those followers who have the check mark. So you understand that you rise much higher than those guys. Let's probably scroll down to the bottom. There are probably some without the check mark a little lower. Well, now everyone has already figured this out. Most people are already buying this little blue checkmark 100%. So, again, it boosts your replies and your posts much better. Yes, let's see who is working on Kaito. Of course, almost all of them already have blue checkmarks. So I think this is clear, friends. The blue checkmark, account setup, and a normal description. Again, the description can all be done through ChatGPT, but you also need to understand how to use ChatGPT. It's already being recognized if you generate a response in it, or just copy and paste it for someone. They will quickly notice that it's Chat's handwriting. Let me show you how they have started to recognize it. I think many have seen that ChatGPT leaves a long dash in its responses. When your responses have this long handwriting, people will immediately say, "Bot, run away from here," and so on. So, friends, I think you grasp this foundation, right? Account setup, blue checkmark, and gradually starting posts. Regarding posts, friends, what I personally recommend is at least 5 posts a day. The basic posts, friends, are good morning and good night. These usually get the most engagement, right? Even if we return to the main page, you can see GM, meaning the DeFi team is flying, who is with us, wishing a good Tuesday, a good Wednesday, and so on. These are the most active morning posts, right? Good morning. So you go under this post to the followers, to the guys you follow, and you start commenting. You see 223 comments, 222 likes, to 1,000 views. So, I say, such good morning and good night posts are basic. They gather a lot of views and, accordingly, pop up in recommendations a lot. You should write such posts yourself, and also go and comment on other people's posts too. You see, we scroll down further. Good morning. Next. What do we have next? We have good morning, right? These are smartphone followers who have 17, 20, or 50,000 followers. They interact with such large accounts. So sooner or later, you will get recognized and people will start following you. Very often, such smart followers post things like, "Good morning, who is online now? Wish me a good morning, and I will follow you back." This way, you can gather your first smart followers. So, I think that's clear about Twitter, friends. Next, what we need to do is register on the Kaito platform, connecting your Twitter account there. Here I have it connected, you see. I even have to smart followers. You connect your account. If you don't do this, you will create posts, but you won't move up in the Kaito leaderboard. You won't be connected, you know? I think it's all elementary and clear. Also, friends, there is an alternative platform called Cookifun. There's much less competition there. But I've noticed that top influencers who talk about and promote various projects in Kaito on Twitter also register on Cookifun. So, in fact, you kill 2 birds with 1 stone. You talk about one project. For example, let's look at OpenLedger. It has allocated a promo of $350,000, as I understand it, in its tokens, and we can check it out. So, in fact, you make a post on Twitter, and you simultaneously rise in both the Kaito leaderboard and Cookifun, right? This is maximally beneficial. I can also leave a link in the description for both Cookifun and Kaito. Register there, and here it won't hurt. So again, I say the competition is much less. Friends, I think it's time to talk about projects. Let me tell you how to choose a project if you haven't started talking about any project yet. Look, we have a Yaper board. Here we go and see many different projects like OG, Allo, Anima, Bliss. I try to talk about those projects that I understand a bit better earlier. For example, please, OpenLedger, I have worked on them, and I know what to talk about. You can save and monetize your unused traffic. There are many different posts you can make. Also, pay maximum attention to the number of spots that the project allocates for Yapers. If it's 100 to 200 spots, it's not worth doing. Large accounts compete in the top 100 and 200, and the competition is very high. With an account of 200 to 300 followers, to be frank, there's no point in participating. You can also check how many spots are allocated. We have a tab called TA. Here, each project publishes its conditions. You see, Summit has allocated 20,000 for a month, as I understand it. Even Bybee, friends, is already coming to Kaito. Do you understand how Kaito is advantageous? Earlier, for a project to become more recognizable, it was necessary to pay bloggers money. For example, they hire me and say, "Talk about our project, and you'll get $5,000 a month." This advertising was not always profitable with Kaito. The project simply allocates a pool, and the competition begins for that pool. Bloggers don't even need to be paid directly, they will fight for the leaderboard, and there will be competition. This is the most profitable marketing bit, to be frank. As you can see, even Bybee is coming here. They understand that the trend is emerging. Bybee is one of the first exchanges that appeared on Kaito. They also allocated various pools. For example, you can see $1,000 deposit to get 10%. Well, it's in the style of exchanges. Scroll down a bit. I wanted to talk about something. Look, Infini is one of the freshest projects. It will have 3 seasons. The first started in July, from July 2nd to August 7th. Let's click on the details and see what conditions they offer to their Yapers. So, Infinity is now in the Kaito leaderboard. The top Yapers will rise in the leaderboard and receive 0.5% of the total token volume and register for active Yapers. The first season is already live and will last until August 7th. It's good to take and collect high rewards and unlock endless rewards. Here, friends, the first season is already outlined. Let's click on this post and translate it. Again, my translation doesn't work here. Look, in the first season, we will have 1,000 people in the top 1,000 in the leaderboard of Infinite. Accordingly, they will receive rewards. I understood that they allocate for the top 50 from China, top 50 from Korea, and top 50 from other countries. This is, I think, the best condition because very few projects allocate spots for the top 1,000. If we scroll down a bit from the LS, let's see the conditions for Bliss. It's also a pin project that I recorded videos on about how to work on it, set up a node, and so on. You see, the top 50% allocates for 500 Yapers. If you get into the top 500 leaderboard, you will receive, I think, very generous rewards. The airdrops that will be pinned as expansions won't even compare to the rewards that the top 500 Yapers will receive. Again, we will compare later, I think around September. By the end of September, they will distribute them. Also, look, an important point is that they allocate the top 50% for Kaito's ecosystem. What is the ecosystem? Not all projects allocate for the ecosystem. Most projects only allocate for Yapers, those who will create content specifically on Twitter. However, some projects allocate a percentage for Kaito's ecosystem. Let's go on. I'll show you what the ecosystem is. You see, we have a section for Kaito, and there's a section for Eco, which are the projects that specifically allocate for the ecosystem. As I understand it, friends, the ecosystem is for Kaito coin stakers and also NFT stakers. Those who hold NFTs are part of the ecosystem. Therefore, holding Kaito NFT collections, I think, is not particularly profitable. The last time I checked on Magic Eden, it was worth around 1 Ethereum. So you see, there are much higher prices for NFT collections compared to the coin. Currently, Kaito is worth about $1.50, having rolled back from its highs. It was over $2, and now it's $1.50. Again, you can maximize your advantage to avoid any losses. You can hedge your position. How to do this? Look, you buy. I also want to mention that there have been projects that distributed rewards under Kaito's ecosystem for those who held at least 100 coins in staking. So you understand, 100 coins cost about $150. I again invested. As you can see, I put Kaito here, and it resulted in 497, but in reality, it was. Now we'll see the transaction. In fact, you see, I bought 526 Kaito coins and put them in staking. I hope to receive additional airdrops from those projects that allocate some part for the ecosystem. So, friends, look at how you can hedge your position to stay at zero. If there's a downturn, you will be able to withdraw the coins that are in staking, which you can only take out after 7 days. So if I stake today, I can only retrieve those coins in a week. But in that time, the price can fluctuate depending on the market. Bitcoin, and all these factors. How not to lose money at such a moment? Again, look, for example, you buy 500 coins, stake them, and immediately open a short position for the same amount, say 500 coins, or roughly the same amount, around $700 to $750 for that position. You open a short position with the same amount, I apologize, and take it with leverage. Again, friends, this is not financial advice, I'm just sharing one of the life hacks. I didn't come up with this myself, I'll be honest. I saw it from another blogger, but it seemed very beneficial to me. So, what's the point? If the coin falls, we lose a bit on the price, but our short position goes into profit. Thus, we simply hedge our position. If the coin, say Kaito, starts to rise, we will be in the red on the short side, but in staking, our balance will be in the green. Thus, we will consistently stay at zero, hedging our position. Additionally, friends, as you know, the backpack has now launched its second season. You see, Season 2 is underway. I haven't been very active here yet, but I think I'll launch my Kaito hedge position here. I'm saying this to protect my risks, so to speak. So, you will consistently stay at zero. You will also receive drops from projects allocating to Kaito's ecosystem, while simultaneously working on the backpack. I think this is quite an interesting aspect to consider, and thus try to work on. Again, don't go in with large amounts, try to minimize your risks, using only a portion of your free funds. You know, in crypto, you can never guarantee anything 100%. Today, it's a profit, tomorrow it might be a loss, and so on. There might be protocol hacks. So I think you understand what I'm talking about, friends. These are probably the most important points I wanted to discuss regarding Kaito. So, friends, choose a project that allocates a decent number of spots, at least the top 500. For example, Bliss has allocated significantly fewer spots for Kaito compared to OpenLedger. However, OpenLedger has the advantage that it has also launched on Cookif Fund, which has allocated a promo of $350,000. Here, there are no restrictions on spots. It seems that everyone who talks about it will be rewarded. At the moment, you see I am at 793 to 930 place. In talking about OpenLedger, I don't create much content. I focus more on Virtuals and Bliss, which are the projects I try to talk about as often as possible. Also, friends, choose a project that you understand well enough to know what to write. So you're not just posting once a day, but at least 2 or 3 posts. Don't forget to respond to smart followers. So, friends, this is the basic foundation of how you can start working on Kaito. If I wanted to give you another example, we had a project called Newton, if I'm not mistaken. I can't quickly spot it with my eyes. So the guys also worked on it, doing some activities on the platform, and there was a leaderboard specifically for Yapers who tweeted about it. Accordingly, the guys who did activities on the platform received good money, like $1,000, $15,000, $10,000, $3,000, $5,000, and $10,000 for specifically promoting the Newton project. So you understand the difference, right? There are many people for such projects as Monot, for example, who are doing activities, minting NFTs, and making transactions, while there's a part of people who specifically engage in yapping, meaning there's constant content about Monot on Twitter. I can confidently say that they will receive much more in rewards. We will later see screenshots. They will definitely post them on Twitter, and we will compare the rewards for those who worked on Monot through Kaito, and those who just did activities like minting in FTS and similar things. Friends, that's the information I have on Kaito. If you have questions, leave them in the comments under this video. We will say goodbye here. Subscribe to my Telegram channel and my YouTube channel. Wishing everyone well and profit.
Гораздо больше, то есть, будем позже видеть скрины, да, они будут 100% выложить их в тот же Twitter и посмотрим, сравним просто награды для тех, кто отрабатывал монат через Kaito, и для тех, кто делал просто активности, там, минтил NFT и тому подобное. Друзья, вот такая информация у меня по Kaito. Если есть вопросы, задавайте комментарии под этим видео. На этом будем прощаться. Подписывайтесь на мой телеграм-канал, на мой YouTube-канал. Всем добра, всем профита.